The first thing you buy is not the car, it is a version of yourself. A version that gets noticed in parking lots. A version people assume is successful before you say a word. A version that never has to explain why everyone else seems further ahead. You are 24 when the promotion arrives. $72,000 a year. You read the email twice. It is more money than you have ever earned. More than either of your parents earned at your age. For the first time, your future feels like it has finally started. Your manager shakes your hand. Your coworkers congratulate you. Someone asks what you are going to buy. You laugh and say you have not thought about it. But that evening, you notice the cars in the company parking lot differently. The polished black sedan, the German badge, the quiet sound of the door closing. 3 days later, you are sitting across from a salesman who does not ask how much the car costs. He asks what monthly payment feels comfortable. You say $600. He disappears, comes back, and places a sheet of paper in front of you. $720 a month. A little more than you planned, but the seats are leather. The dashboard glows. The car is only 3 years old, and when you sit behind the wheel, you do not feel 24 anymore. You feel established. You sign. The salesman hands you the keys. You take a photo before leaving the dealership. You do not post the monthly payment. You post the steering wheel. That is the first cost of looking rich. You stop buying objects. You start buying evidence. Cost 1, the admission fee. The payment is $720, but the car does not cost $720. Insurance rises to $210. Premium fuel costs more than you expected. Parking near the office is $140 a month. The first maintenance appointment costs $600. The dealership calls it routine. One tire costs more than all 4 tires on your previous car. Altogether, the car takes almost $1,200 from you every month. But $1,200 does not feel like $1,200. It arrives in pieces. A payment on the 5th. Insurance on the 9th, fuel twice a week, parking every morning, repairs whenever the car decides. No single charge feels large enough to change your life. Together, they begin controlling it. You take the longer route home because you enjoy being seen inside the car. You volunteer to drive when your coworkers go out. At traffic lights, you watch your reflection in the window. The car does what you bought it to do. It changes how people see you. It also changes what you can afford when nobody is watching. Cost 2, maintaining the story. The car creates a problem. It looks strange outside your old apartment. The building is safe. The rent is manageable. But the hallway smells like cooking oil, and the paint near the entrance is peeling. You begin parking around the corner when coworkers visit. Eventually, you move. The new apartment has tall windows, a gym downstairs, and a lobby that smells expensive. Rent rises from $1,300 to $2,050. You tell yourself the location saves time. You tell your family the building is safer. Both are true. Neither is the real reason. The new place matches the car. Then your clothes stop matching the place. Your phone looks old beside the restaurant table. Your furniture looks temporary beneath the apartment's bright ceiling lights. Looking rich is not one purchase. It is a system. Every upgrade exposes something else that now appears too cheap. The car demands the apartment demands the furniture demands the dinners demand the watch, the phone, and the clothes that make the entire performance believable. Nothing is outrageously expensive by itself. That is why it works. Your life becomes a collection of reasonable decisions that are unreasonable when added together. Cost 3, fragility. Your quarterly bonus is $1,500. Your manager tells you that you earned it. For a few minutes, you feel ahead. Then the car needs brakes. $900. Your annual insurance renewal is due. The apartment raises rent by $120. A friend invites you on a weekend trip. Everyone assumes you can afford it because you drive the nicest car in the group. You say yes before checking your account. The bonus disappears in 6 days, not on one reckless purchase. On the life required to preserve the impression that you no longer worry about money. Your account reaches $280 the night before payday. You sit inside your expensive apartment eating noodles from a paper bowl. Through the window, the city looks beautiful. From the street, your life probably does too. Then the check engine light appears. You stare at it. You could pay for the repair or rent, not both. This is the strange thing about looking wealthy before becoming wealthy. You own objects designed to signal security while living with almost none. Cost 4, the hidden employees. The credit card becomes your quiet assistant. It buys dinner when your bank account cannot. It covers the repair so your co-workers never see you arrive by bus. It pays for the hotel because canceling the trip would require an explanation. At first, the balance is $1,200, then $3,800, then $8,000. You still make every minimum payment. Nothing has collapsed. That is what makes the situation dangerous. The card works perfectly. It keeps the lifestyle alive. Interest is the employee you hired without realizing it. It works every night. It never takes a holiday. It does not care whether you receive a promotion, lose your job, or feel exhausted. Every month, it preserves the image by transferring part of tomorrow into today. Your friends think you are doing well. Your family thinks the promotion changed everything. Your social media shows the car, the apartment, and the restaurants. It does not show the browser tab where you calculate how many months it will take to clear the balance. 43 months. That is assuming nothing goes wrong. Something always goes wrong. Cost 5. The job you can no longer leave. 3 years pass. You are earning more now, $88,000, but you do not feel richer. The apartment costs more. The car warranty has expired. Your credit card balance has reached $18,000. Every raise arrives already assigned to a previous decision. Then a smaller company offers you a job. The work is better. You would have more control, less stress, and the possibility of owning part of the business. But the salary is $12,000 lower. You open a spreadsheet. Car, rent, insurance, cards, subscriptions, restaurants. The numbers answer before you can. You cannot take the job. Not because the opportunity is bad, because your image has a payroll. You remain in the office you increasingly hate, so you can continue financing a life built to prove that the office made you successful. Your manager does not know this. He does not need to. Your obligations negotiate on his behalf. Looking rich has made you easier to control. You need the next paycheck too badly to risk becoming someone else. Cost 6. The audience. The strangest part is that nobody forced you to do any of this. No one demanded the car. No one inspected your apartment. Most people were too busy worrying about their own lives to study yours. But the audience became real inside your head. You imagine what coworkers would say if you downgraded. You imagine the questions if you moved back to a cheaper neighborhood. You imagine arriving at dinner in an ordinary car after years of being the successful one. Your family begins asking you for help. Not because they are greedy, because everything they can see tells them that you have more than enough. You pay one bill for a relative, then another. You cannot explain that the man with the luxury car has less cash than the person asking him for money, so you continue performing. You are no longer trying to impress strangers. You are trying not to disappoint the identity they have already accepted. This is where looking rich becomes expensive, in a way no statement can measure. You lose permission to be honest. You cannot say, "I cannot afford it," because the entire purpose of your lifestyle was to make that sentence unbelievable. Cost 7. The life that never appears. At 34, you calculate what the image has cost, not the full cost. That number is too complicated. You calculate only the difference, the extra car expense, the more expensive apartment, the restaurants, clothes, and upgrades that existed mostly because the others did. Approximately $1,250 a month. For 10 years, $150,000 spent directly. Had the same monthly amount been consistently invested and earned an average return of around 8% before taxes and fees, it could have grown to more than $225,000. But even that is not the real number, because the missing money would have purchased more than investments. It could have purchased the ability to leave the wrong job, the ability to survive unemployment without panic, the ability to help your family without using a credit card, the ability to start the business, the ability to sleep. You did not merely spend money, you spent choices. And choices are more expensive because you only understand their value after they disappear. Cost 8. Stepping down. The decision begins with the car. You clean it one Saturday morning and take photographs from every angle. For sale. Your hand pauses before posting the listing. Selling it feels like admitting something. Not to the bank, not to the dealership, to the 24-year-old version of yourself who believed the car proved that he had escaped. A buyer arrives the following week. He is younger than you. He circles the car slowly, sits inside, touches the steering wheel the same way you did at the dealership. He asks whether it has been reliable. You say yes. That is mostly true. He transfers the money. You watch him drive away, carrying the version of you that required the most maintenance. The next car is 8 years old, silver, reliable. Nobody notices it. The first morning you drive it to work, a coworker asks what happened to the other car. You say you sold it. He asks why. You say you did not need it anymore. The conversation lasts 9 seconds. That is all. The judgment you carried for years barely existed outside your imagination. You move into a smaller apartment when the lease ends. You stop joining every dinner. You keep the black shirt. You keep the same quiet expression. You begin sending the old car payment into an investment account. The first month, the balance looks insignificant. The second month, still insignificant. There is no leather interior, no photograph worth posting. No one congratulates you. Real financial progress is visually disappointing at the beginning. It looks like repetition. It looks like staying home. It looks like an ordinary car beside a normal building. It looks exactly like nothing is happening. The reversal. Another 10 years pass. At 44, you still drive a modest car. Your home is comfortable, but not designed to impress visitors. The black shirt has become a private joke with yourself. People who meet you casually assume you are doing fine, nothing more. But your accounts tell a different story. The credit cards are paid. The emergency fund covers a year. The investments have crossed a number that once seemed impossible. Your work is now optional in a way it never was when your salary looked impressive. You can walk away from a bad deal. You can decline an invitation without inventing an excuse. You can help someone without checking whether rent will clear. The world paid more attention when you had the car, but the attention never gave you control. Now you have control, and almost nobody notices. That is the irony. When you were desperate to look rich, you were financially fragile. When you finally became financially secure, you stopped needing to look like anything. The real cost of looking rich was never only the payments. It was the job you could not leave, the truth you could not admit, the risks you could not take, the years spent maintaining evidence for people who were barely watching. Nice things are not the enemy. Buying something you genuinely value is not failure. The trap begins when the object is hired to perform a job your identity should not need, to prove that you matter, to prove that you succeeded, to prove that you are no longer the person you used to be. Somewhere tonight, a 24-year-old is sitting inside a dealership. The salesman is asking what monthly payment feels comfortable. The car smells new. The dashboard glows. For the first time, he feels like the future has begun. He thinks he is buying a vehicle. What he is really deciding is how much of his future he is willing to spend convincing the present that he has already arrived. Looking rich buys attention. Becoming wealthy buys choices. And only one of them gives you your life back. This is VaultLine.